The next section is an update on changes in Reg A Plus related to broker dealers. Broker dealers have their place. Underwriters have a really wonderful place when you're doing an IPO, obviously, and broker dealers have their place too. No question about that. A big change in Reg A Plus, though, as it affects broker dealers, is that 3 years ago, 2 years ago, it was a pain getting into Texas and Florida and a couple of other states, but Texas and Florida in particular. So in theory, our clients could file with Texas and Florida as their own broker for their own offering and get permission and do the Reg A Plus without having any broker dealer involvement. But it was slow and difficult and time consuming, and Florida they didn't like Reg A Plus, and they had a shortage of staff in their securities department. So it was a pain. That was the most cost effective method. Most companies chose to add a broker dealer just to get into Texas and Florida and a few other states that made it difficult, where you could still work with them and get through relatively easily. Lots of people invest from Texas and Florida. So that was the case. And I have on my platform, on my company's platform, we've got FAQs talking about this issue and informing companies about the problem states and how to solve that problem. Two big things have changed. Actually, more than two, but the biggest ones are Texas has become much more proactive about stock offerings and stock exchanges. They're enticing the NASDAQ and the NYSE to open exchanges in Texas. And I presume that's the reason they've made it easier now, where they still require you to file, but you can file immediately on the same day you file your Reg A Plus with the SEC. You can file that day, and they'll typically get you approved within 4 weeks in Texas. So that's become a beautiful, smooth journey. And Florida changed their regulations where you no longer need to get their permission and file as your own broker dealer. You no longer need a broker dealer to raise money in Florida. So you save an immense amount of money. You don't have to pay the FINRA fee on filing, where that's dependent on how much you're raising. I think it's a 1% fee. You don't have to pay that. You don't have to pay upfront fees to a broker dealer. You don't have to pay commissions of 2, 3, 4% to broker dealers that aren't raising money for you. So now it's much easier to raise money in a Reg A Plus with no broker dealer involvement, save the FINRA fee, save the broker fees and commissions. And more importantly, this isn't new, but it's significant. I want you guys to be aware that the problem with having a broker dealer involved in a Reg A Plus is that they are regulated by FINRA, and FINRA is a very slow bureaucracy and very restrictive on broker dealer activities. So the broker dealers, depending on how they interpret the rules and depending on their relationship with FINRA, they place very tight restrictions on the marketing content on your offering page for your Reg A Plus, and on the email content that you can send out, and on the advertising content that you can send out. Highly restrictive stuff, punitive in many cases. So not only are you spending money, you're losing the ability to cost effectively market your raise. That's a huge issue, huge. The other thing is that when you include in your Reg A Plus filing that you have a broker dealer involved, then you make provisions for that, describe it and so forth, as you would expect. The SEC then, when they're ready, let's say they qualify you in 2 weeks, which is a lovely scenario when it happens. Whatever time they qualify you, they will not actually qualify you until FINRA blesses your deal with the broker dealer. And we've had situations where that stretched out for months and months, and the client finally gave up, canceled the broker dealer arrangement and lost out on the cash fees they'd already paid, removed the broker dealer references from their Reg A Plus, and then got qualified right away once they made that refiling. So my point here is that there are so many Reg A Pluses that get caught in jeopardy by having FINRA involved by dint of having a broker dealer involved. It costs months and months and months in many cases, in which case you're sitting on your hands waiting to raise money and not able to do so. So those are serious reasons why not to use a broker dealer. Again, I know a lot of great broker dealers and underwriters, good rapport with many of them, and like to work with them, etc. But now you can do a Reg A Plus with my company and with other platforms without having to spend a heinous amount of money in commissions and fees. Now, there's a couple of our companies that we know and work with who have posted volunteered to give us feedback, which I posted in chat. We have posted in chat. One is from a company called C3 Bullion, and the other is from Golf Suites. And I don't know if Ryan is on with us, but Ryan is the guy that runs marketing for Golf Suites. They've done a number of Reg A pluses. They did their first one with us, and they came back to us to do their most recent one with us, having gone elsewhere for a while. So he has very relevant experience. So I'm thinking the first of the two quotes is from Ryan. Let me just check here. Yeah, so please make a note of that. We will be including those quotes in our blog post article when we send it out. So you'll have access to them there. Small print, difficult to read. Okay, so now I'm opening up to questions on the broker-dealer topic and in general on the whole webinar and on Reg A Plus and on Reg D for that matter. I hope this has already been useful, but if you have questions, please do post them. And so you're aware, actually I'm going to go scroll back up and see if I'm missing questions that have already been posted. Yeah, Carl is promoting his book there. Yeah, talked about qualification. Yeah. The biggest issue really with doing a Reg A Plus is that it costs an arm and a leg to market an offering. In most cases, if you don't have a gigantic audience of people that love your company, then the biggest expense in online capital formation is advertising outreach through typically Facebook, Instagram, and in some cases TikTok, because if you could get into TikTok, it's the most efficient, the most cost-efficient vehicle. They have the best AI. But that is the most expensive piece of everything. If you have a broker-dealer charging you 6, 8, 9, whatever, 6, 7, 8% commissions, you're still having to do all the advertising, because in an online offering, a Reg D or a Reg A plus, broker-dealers will not raise the money for you until and unless it's already a successful offering. Then is when they will kick in. But you have to bring in the first 10 or 20 million to make clear that it's a success. Do so quickly, do so efficiently. Then is when engaging a broker-dealer can make sense, because that is when they'll take a risk and bring in their clients to invest. Top management in a broker-dealer may say, yeah, we love it, we'll do this. But the reps who work for the broker-dealer do not want to put their client relationships at risk on an offering that is as yet unproven. So they're not going to do the proving. We have to do the proving. We have to conduct the marketing together to make it successful.